Chris, you mentioned earlier that you were hoping that there might be players in before the weekend. Does that mean that signings are quite close, and how close could they be done maybe next week?
Yeah, really close. You know, we've worked extremely hard in identifying them. You know, it is a difficult window to work in. I think you've seen there hasn't been a great deal of business at the top end, in identifying players. You know, are they available? Loans as well. I think we all understand that there wasn't going to be any permanent ones, and if they were, they'd be really good deals. But we've worked hard, position specific, to strengthen the group, and we believe when the window shuts, Rob, that the group will be a lot better in terms of competition for places, balance of the group from an attitude point of view, and a feel. That we will be in a better position than we were when the window opened, and we're cracking on with it 24/7, and everybody's enthusiastic and committed into making that group stronger and better.
How much of your time does it take up during a month? You've just had 2 weeks to work with the players, but when you haven't been working with them, you've pretty much been on the phone.
Yeah, I do. I think. You know, when people talk about, you know, the life of a football manager, and I won't quote the club, but there was, you know, this new way of thinking. I think there's a questionnaire going out regarding one club that they're offering to their potential managers. What time do you start work and what time do you finish? They're into start time and they're into finish time. It's just as simple as that. So, you know, and obviously from our ownership point of view as well, you know, we have people situated all over the world as well. So it is always, whether it's outside the window, but more heightened and more concentrated, because you are, and I am. I'm desperately keen to make this group better, and I do feel we are getting there. As I said to the players today, you know, it's we've accelerated this through. Now we have to marry that up with that performance level. And hopefully that'll add to our points total.
Do you think this time you've had to work with the players, plus the additions that you're going to make, is going to give you a really serious chance of getting out there? We
wouldn't have made, and I wouldn't have asked the club to make those decisions if I didn't think if I didn't think there was any fight left in us. There's a definite fight left in us, as seen in terms of the performances on the pitch. You know, I'm a little bit disappointed that, because I think we're light on points over my period here, so we have to part that in a way and move on to that next game. There was always going to be that next game approach from myself. There's loads of fight left in us. There's definitely a huge fight left in myself and the coaching staff, and I'm seeing that in the players. I would be totally honest with you. If I didn't think that, then I would say to the board and the owner, you know, keep your powder dry. There's nothing left in us. I'll try and get as much out of this group as I possibly can through my experience, and we'll plan for another season in a different division. Now that might happen, another season in a different division, but it won't be through a lack of fight, commitment, and effort from everybody at this football club, and that includes the supporters as well.
So you've used words like fight, commitment, connected, together. How do you retain that within a team when you're at the wrong end of the table? Because there's plenty of examples where that's not the case.
There's plenty of examples where teams have got out of really poor positions as well. So, you know, it's the same as when I was coming back. You know, I'll never go back, but there's loads of examples of managers that have gone back and made a success of it. So I think that, you know, this is an historic game that we're all involved in, and anybody can look at it from any part, from a statistical point of view. You know, we have to play still as well. You know, it's not just about a fight. It's not just about a commitment. It's not just about aggression and being competitive and being enthusiastic. There has to be a structure which we always have brought to whatever football club I've managed, and certainly this one. You know, in terms of the success that we've had, but the balance is that, and hopefully that will be shown in performances and in results. And starting whoever you're playing, whoever you're up against.
A couple of final ones on transfers. Quite an unusual situation where the Cardiff manager mentioned that Sheffield United might be in for Ryan Kent.
Yeah, it was a strange one. I saw that one. Yeah, I come across that one. So I don't know whether the Turkish connection and Fenerbahce and somebody's after moving a player on, but it's nothing that we've been interested in. So yeah, that was quite surprising. I was as surprised as possibly you were, and 30,000 Sheffield United fans were.
And just purely because when you think back to last summer, there were a couple of high-profile departures from Sheffield United. Is the club in a different position now with all this talk about Backman-Oltich? Clubs do come in for your players. You were a stronger place to go. Now we're going to keep.
Absolutely, 100%, and you know, from an L's, you know, I'll stick. You know, if Kev wants to stick an L up here, and I'm sure he's got ambition. The player has ambition and wants to play at the highest level. You can't take that away from anybody, and I'll never stop anybody on that. But it has to be right for the football club, and gaining the power back has always been something that I've been heavily committed to. Signing the younger players, as we've seen over the last couple of weeks, the likes of Brooks signing, right, Anton Ackford signing, you know, Danny Jebberson in talks, Arblaster in talks, nailing those boys down, nailing the other boys down that may be out of contract that I see are going to be part of the future going forward as well will be key as well. So bringing that power back to us and bringing sort of the how can I say it, our plan and our structure that we're trying to implement, and who's going to be on the journey going forward. So that was always going to be key. I understand, you know, I've been involved in a difficult situation before. You know, we were involved in the John Lundstrom situation, which was a really difficult one because Lunny was a committed player and he did great with us and he ran his contract down. And nobody wants to get to that position in that situation. Sometimes, though, you can't help anyway, and you're powerless to make that happen, really. But we don't want to get into that position, and we're talking about the young players and the length of contract they're signing, and NL. And if it does happen, then it happens, and everybody's happy with the situation. I don't want to lose my best players, but you know, speculation is rife about Anel, and I understand that. As long as he gets his head down, which I 100% believe he will do, then it doesn't become an issue.
How close are you to potentially tying down the likes of Jefferson and Arnold?
Yeah, really close. I think Jebo's house hunting in Sheffield, and Ollie. I've threatened him that his future's at Sheffield United, so I think he's a little bit scared of me at the moment. So I'll just keep squeezing him until he signs a contract, but I'm sure he will do because he's a young, talented boy. You know, we've had inquiries about him in terms of the Championship, but he's a player that we're really looking forward to working with. You know, I think you've seen the likes of Asula as well, the likes of Brooks, their impact that they've had on the first team and the experience that they've got. So the likes of them two and Jebberson and Arblaster and Reece Norrington Davis, you know, of course we're always looking. We're massively looking at the West Ham game. I get that, but there always has to be a medium and long-term plan. So I think the players are in a good place overall, and I think the club is in terms of, you know, making sure that we're secure going forward.
But finally on West Ham, it's always interesting when these two teams meet. What do you expect from this game?
Of course, a reaction from the cup defeat, and a manager that I believe doesn't get the credit and praise that he deserves. I think if you look back at David Moyes' career, what he did at Everton, you know, obviously from doing a fantastic job at Preston and getting the Everton job and then being not out the top 6, not top 8 for about 4, 5 or 6 years. His recruitment, he got Everton and Everton got him. Yeah, of course, people will talk about the times where it didn't go as well as David and the club he was managing would have liked, but West Ham winning a European competition, being in the top 6, the top 8 is an incredible achievement because how difficult the Premier League is. So he's one that for me is somebody that I've always looked at and looked up to personally, and their position has been earned over the last 2 or 3 years. And it's been down to a lot of good things that the manager's implemented it, and his style and his fingerprints all over that football club.
Is it something, can you use them? I know that obviously they've achieved a lot, kind of put it in Europe and stuff like that. But is there something to learn from them? Because they were up and down for a while, weren't they? Between
yeah, all I would say though, Rob, is that they were an established. They did come out of the Premier League and dropped into the Championship and got themselves up, but they've always been a pretty established Premier League club for quite a number of years, and obviously the advantages and the power that gives the football club to move forward. So they've had a platform and a base, but it still has to be managed. And when it doesn't go right like it did, you have to have somebody that comes and rescues the situation. I think it was talked about, when I think I last signed my contract and we beat them 1-0 at our place, the position that West Ham were in at that particular moment, and who would have said that maybe in the next 2 or 3 years that he'd won a European competition and been in and around the top 6 to get into Europe, to win that competition and go again like they're doing this year.